Welcome to Geeky Nerdy Techie. My name's Shane. In today's video, we're checking out the Boya XM6-S2 Mini dual transmitter to single receiver 2.4 gigahertz wireless solution. And guess what? You're listening to it right now. Although you will be also listening to the Saramonic Blink 500 Pro throughout this video while we do the unboxing and overview of the transmitter and receiver, so you can get a good sense of how it compares up against another pack. But the good news is, if you like the audio quality that you're listening to right now, this is thanks to the S2 Mini. I usually shoot these videos completely outdoors, but it's so hot outside today and I don't want to get cooked. So we're going to do some of it indoors and then I'll take you outside. We'll do the all important distance and signal transmission strength test, including a vlogging test. So if you want to use this for vlogging or content creation, hopefully this video is helpful. If it is, please leave a thumbs up. I appreciate it. A massive thank you to Boya for sending out this pack for the review. I really appreciate it. I had a chance to test out one of their prior packs and it performed beautifully. I'll link up to my full playlist in the card, so if this pack's not for you, there's plenty of other reviews here on the channel. Let's get into it. Let's check out what we get in the box. That's 3 goes. We get a user manual, a warranty card, and some stickers. Included, we also get this pouch, which is fantastic. It means we can keep everything very easily organized without losing stuff, especially if we're out in the field. We get 3 USB-A to USB-C type cables. Now, if you know the channel, I'm not a huge fan of having 3 power cables to charge each of the units. I'd rather have a single USB-A, so that rectangular side, to 3 USB-C in one. That would have been a much better idea, but it is what it is. At least we get the ability to charge the units. We get the standard 3.5mm audio cable. This is the TRS to TRS cable that's designed for mirrorless cameras. We also get a TRS to TRRS connector. This is still 3.5mm, but it's designed for a smartphone or tablet if it still has that headphone or microphone socket. Included, we also get 2 of these little wind furries. These are great for helping reject wind noise when we're outside, and we'll test these out in just a moment. Check out these 2 transmitters on either side of the receiver in the center. They're very, very small. This is wild. Let's take a look at how small the transmitters actually are. This is the Rode Wireless Go 2. As you can see, it's a very small compact unit, but if we take a look at the Boya, it's literally half the size in terms of its width. It's slightly taller, but overall, it's very, very small. My first impression of the build quality is they both feel great. The clip tension's good, and overall the plastic feels nice and solid, and they're extremely light. These transmitters might be the lightest I've ever tested, coming in at only 14.5 grams. And the receiver comes in at 32 grams. So these are super lightweight, but they still feel really good in the hand. If you plan on doing any type of travel, if they perform well, these would be a really great choice. Let's talk about the specs in a practical sense. So this is a 2.4 gigahertz pack, and the advantage of that is it's a digital signal transmission, giving us really great fidelity and also a signal that has extremely low latency. So if we're using these at a distance, it will be next to lagless. Each of the transmitters has their very own microphone built in, and it gives us an omnidirectional polar pattern, which means I can clip this on any way and it will still pick up my voice nicely. I can even use them for voiceover or in an interview situation, just holding them between 2 people. The frequency response of the onboard microphones comes in at 35 Hz to 18 kHz. Now, the full spectrum of human hearing is 20 Hz to 20 kHz. So we are losing a little bit of low end and also a little bit there on the top. There's actually an advantage to having less low end, especially if you're around something loud like traffic. It rolls out a lot more of that low end rumble that can sometimes ruin your audio. If you're a vlogger, you might also appreciate having less low end in the signal. It means if the wireless pack is moving around on your shirt, or you got very heavy footsteps, you're not going to hear as much of that transferring through the actual audio. We get rechargeable lithium-ion batteries. The battery life is rated at 4.5 hours on the transmitter and 7 hours on the receiver. Now, just due to the size, that makes a whole lot of sense, and the transmitters have to work a whole lot harder. Between both transmitters, if you're a solo content creator, we can get up to 9 hours. You can simply use one until it goes flat and then just grab the other one. You don't have to use them both at the same time. This pack can be used in true stereo or mono mode, which means we can either set it up so the audio is balanced on the left and right, or completely separated for better post-production flexibility. So if you're doing an interview, for example, you would run this pack in stereo, but if you're doing something like this, where I'm talking to the camera, or any type of live streaming, set it to mono. And now you're listening to the Boya S2 Mini. This is the type of audio quality you can get in a studio situation. So all things being equal, this is how it compares up against the Blink 500 Pro. The first thing I like about this is how light the transmitter is. It doesn't feel like it's pulling my shirt down anywhere near as much as the Rode Wireless Go 2 or the Saramonic Blink 500 Pro. Let's switch it back. And back to the Saramonic Blink 500 Pro. Can you hear a huge difference between this and the Boya pack? Let's switch it back. And back to the Boya wireless pack. The setup process was nice and simple. I turned on the receiver, turned on one of the transmitters, set the volume correctly on both, and this is the kind of audio quality you can get. It's very simple, it paired automatically, no problems whatsoever. We're gonna go outside and do the all-important vlogging and distance test. When we come back, I'm gonna give you a full overview of what you need to know about the transmitter, how it works, as well as the receiver. All right, let's do the all-important distance test. We're also gonna check out whether or not this actual windsock works well or not. It's quite windy out here. Every now and then, I'm gonna stop, turn around, and keep talking, and if it cuts out, I'll leave some annotations on screen. This is not only to see how quickly it cuts out, but also how quickly it recovers if it does lose signal. So let's stop at about 10 meters or so. I'll turn around and keep talking, and we'll see if it cuts out or does anything funny. Again, annotations will be left on screen if it does have any issues with this test. Some packs perform far better than others. Now let's go back to about 20 meters or so. I would say this is about 60 feet. Let's turn around and do. Now odds are at this distance, when I break line of sight, the signal will no doubt drop, just through experience with these packs, but hopefully I'm wrong. I've been wrong many times. Let's go back to probably 30 meters or so. We'll see if this works. This is true line of sight. I'll turn around and keep talking. Funny, I'll leave that on screen. I'm gonna walk back to about 40 meters or so. This is just a guesstimate right now. So this is a couple of netball courts back. We're gonna test out how it works in a regular walk and talk back to the camera. This is one of those tests that can sometimes fail on wireless packs. Even just the movement can sometimes cause issues with the transmission. So this is a real world scenario. Just walking back to the camera. I'm gonna keep waffling on right now until we get back. And if it cut out or did anything funny, I'll leave those annotations on screen. I'm also gonna talk about the performance of this at the end of the video once I get back to the studio. And I'll let you know what I think of the overall audio quality and signal transmission reliability. If you plan on doing any type of vlogging, wireless packs make so much more sense than those shotgun microphones, because I can put the camera wherever I like and the audio is going to be exactly the same, right? So this gives you a huge advantage over the traditional shotgun microphone. It's also far lighter, so they've got that going for it as well. Additionally, you can use these microphones in a makeshift interview situation like this. Odds are you've seen people using wireless packs at product shows interviewing people. That's thanks to the omnidirectional polar pattern built into these mics. So lots of flexibility with these. Hopefully they sound great. I'll comment on all of this at the end. Let's take a look at the mono versus stereo mode. So I'm currently in mono, both transmitters are on. So if I'm talking into one, the audio will come out in the center channel, and same with the other. And now you're listening to stereo mode. As I remove this one, you're hearing the audio out of the left channel. As I remove this one, you're listening to the audio out of the right channel. This is the best in an interview scenario where you want to do some sort of post-production on both people's audio. This is really great. Now, if you're doing a live stream, set it to mono. Also, if you're working on your own just with one transmitter, just set it to mono. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier. Here's the transmitter up close. This is super small, man. I can't believe just how small this is. And we still get a USB-C port on the side for charging, which is always a good thing. The top of the transmitter is where you'll find the omnidirectional microphone. This doesn't have a 3.5mm input for a lavalier microphone. So just know, if you buy this pack, you have to use the onboard mic. To attach the Windfury, all you have to do is click it in and it's nice and secure, so this isn't going anywhere. On this side of the transmitter, we have a plus and minus key, as well as our mute and power button. So hold this down, the unit will turn on, and then we can adjust the volume thanks to these plus and minus options. Clip strength is excellent. Even if you are running with this pack, I don't think it will fall off. So they've done a great job with the spring-loaded mechanism. Let's take a look at the receiver. The receiver, again, is quite a lot bigger than the actual transmitters. The top of the receiver has two separate outputs. We have real-time headphone monitoring over here, as well as our standard line out. So if you're using this with a mirrorless camera, use that line out over there. This one is just for headphone use. We get the same USB-C port on this side. On this side of the receiver, we have our power button and a plus and minus button. This plus button is also our set key, which allows us to get into the menus. Let's take a look. Here's the receiver up close. Now, the great news is, thanks to these side buttons here, you can adjust the volume without having to go into any menu like on other systems. So if you just want to turn the output volume down of the receiver going to your camera, we can do that using the plus and minus keys. Now, the plus key is also the set key. So if I hold this down, it's going to take us into the actual menu where we can adjust the volume. We can also change the output mode from mono to stereo just by holding down the set key and then tapping it again. It will change to stereo. If I hold the plus key again, it will take us out of that option. The minus key will then cycle through the options, or plus, depending on which way you're going. So we've got the mute enable option currently disabled. So this is, if I don't want the power button to act as a mute key, we can disable it in the menu system. We can turn the backlight on, or we can have it automatically turn off after 60, 30, or 10 seconds. It's pretty cool. Just leave the connect yes option to yes, so it pairs automatically. We can also change the language from English to Chinese. Unfortunately, there's no other languages in there, but hopefully one of those two work for you. We also get a restore option, so if you butcher your settings and you're not exactly sure what you've done, simply hold this button down, which is the plus button, and it will restore instantly. Let's wrap this video up. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of this Boya pack, starting with a few things I don't like about it. So while we do get a level indicator on the receiver, it's really hard to tell how hot the gain is actually set on the transmitter. I had to record a few sections twice because the microphone was distorted. Total bummer. It looks safe on the camera side, but it wasn't. It was actually clipping from the microphone gain side, even though everything looked good. So check your audio before you do anything important. Secondly, the LCD screen looks great inside, but it's not great outside. I could barely see it, even when tilting it right up to my eye. It was very hard to see outside on a bright sunny day. The only other thing to make note of is that this is an onboard microphone system only. There's no option for an external lavalier microphone, so even if you own a lav mic, there's no 3.5mm microphone input on either of the transmitters, so you're stuck using this audio only. Let's talk about the positives. I think they far outweigh the negatives. I love how small and compact this entire system is. I love the fact they included a carry bag for everything as well. While there's no charging case, which adds weight, I'm a big fan of this. This is something that I would use for my trips away, just based on its size and weight. Audio quality wise, I think it does a solid job. It doesn't sound as pleasant to my ear as the Blink 500 Pro, but that's a pack that's twice the price. So considering where this is priced, I think it sounds pretty good based on its value. The receiver has its own dedicated headphone output, so if your camera doesn't already give you the ability to plug headphones directly into it for real-time monitoring, you can now do that thanks to this affordable pack. The biggest thing to remember is while this pack is very functional and very flexible, you don't get the opportunity to plug a lavalier microphone into one of the transmitters. There's no option for it at all, so just keep that in mind. A massive thank you to Boya for sending this out. If you want to check it out, I'll link it down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. See ya.